There we go. It's streaming. 30 seconds to go, but you're live on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. Good evening, Acadiana. Welcome to
Higher Thought.
15 seconds, y'all are live on the stream, though.
Are we?
Well,
We're streaming
hey,
already.
streaming. Yeah, well, we sometimes
I like to
stream
stream.
early. Yeah.
Well, you best clean your drawers a little bit.
Yeah, well,
Well, welcome, Acadiana.
how are you?
Howdy, howdy. It's been quite a while. I hope everyone had a wonderful.
Oh, wonderful Thanksgiving. No, I don't think anybody was here for Thanksgiving, were they?
I would.
I sure as hell wasn't.
Neither was I. I was busy. I was laid up in bed.
I was eating some Thanksgiving type food. I was watching the Saints.
I
during the evening.
was eating some Thanksgiving type goodies.
Well, is your girlfriend in town?
Pretty much, yeah.
Hey!
Bazinga!
Hey, you can show that pretty face on television right there. Close up.
Super close up! Whoop, whoop!
Hey, your turn. Super close up. Whoa! And that's another edition of Super Close Up here on Higher Thought. Yes, brought to you by. Sponsor anyone? Sponsor?
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A in New Iberia.
Brand new Chick-fil-A in New Iberia. People camped out the other night to get in. Blah, blah, blah.
Well, camping out in New Iberia, you're likely to get robbed.
Yeah.
You wake up with no tent.
Yeah.
Like, whoa, what happened?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm just not that. I'm
Stereotypes. We love you, New Iberia.
I'm just not that excited about a mediocre chicken sandwich. Now the waffle fries kick ass, but the
Nah, I
sandwich.
mean, I wouldn't go as far as mediocre. You know, I mean, it's a good chicken sandwich. My thing is just it's small compared to the if you're comparing it to Popeye's chicken sandwich, like I
Okay.
don't know, it's small boobs.
When you compare it to the chicken sandwich they serve the inmates where I work,
You work at the prison, right?
the detainees, whatever the appropriate phrase is, those chicken sandwiches, A, are bigger, and B, have more flavor, and that's sad.
Well, it's the steroid chicken, maybe.
I don't know. It's not like I run away screaming from it, but I'd rather go to Popeyes, me.
Do you pay that surcharge for the?
No,
Yeah.
no.
Well, I know there's ways of getting around it, of course.
Of course.
But, so how was everyone's holiday? We want to hear from you, of course. We got the phone way over here.
And the microphones. And the
Oh, all
microphones.
kinds
I'm
of
not sure
stuff.
which microphones even.
We got 2 turntables and a microphone.
where it's at.
But it's right here on Acadiana Open Channel if you'd like to call in.
Please call in.
We don't have the number posted.
337-366-8950.
And then I believe you press 1.
Press 1.
Watch us on at line on AOC Inc.
Online at
I haven't seen this plug
AOCinc.org.
yet.
Neither have I. Oh, and we're on the second channel. At some point, we'll make it to channel 1. We'll be prime time.
Hey, number 1. And we do claim to be the realest fake news in Acadiana.
When we're not being the fakest real news in Acadiana.
So everybody's all about this Black Friday, Cyber Monday. You know, how about we celebrate Buy Nothing Day?
Whoop, whoop! I did. I bought nothing on each of those days.
Well, I mean, outside of maybe going to get some food or something.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I buy groceries.
Yeah, but
Because-
even like then, like Buy Nothing Day.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like, No Shave November.
Which, how about this one? Have you heard? A couple people were talking about it. I think like Russell Brand was one of them. But No Nut November.
Oh, no.
No Nut November.
I blew that one just the other
Well,
day.
I mean, most people do nowadays. If you don't have a girlfriend, you got one of these. You know? So, I mean, like,
no more Spanky to Wanky. The genre needs some
basically a
sleep.
no nut November, not only just to cleanse that, but
Right.
like to cleanse the spirit
To
and like
cleanse the spirit.
like because a lot of I'd say our expectations of what a lot of people have sexually, has to do large in part of what kind of porn they look at.
Really?
Well,
No, I hadn't thought about it that way. I'm not a big porn person.
Well, most old school people aren't, because technically we came from more so your generation. Even when I was growing up, like basically you had to get a magazine.
Yeah.
Or the films were few and far between, like pretty much late night Skinamax or
VHS
HBO.
was not the deal. You had
Right.
to get the real type, the film 16 or 8 millimeter or whatever.
Right,
the
or
hell
go
it
back
was.
and rewind like the one part in the movie that like the Basic Instinct.
Skinamax didn't even show up until after I was done with high school.
All right, yeah, and then worst come to worst, like some of even those like little chinky movies on Late Night USA back then,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean,
a little TNA in those movies. Yeah,
No doubt, no doubt. So, yeah, there's a lot of. I see these pictures of people, which of course we don't show you any pictures here.
No, it'd be totally inappropriate.
Yeah, well, we'd have to give credit and.
Well, we'll just print it out, hold up a sign.
Like, hey.
Yeah, here's all. Here's
We,
all.
we need
here's all
a
the
we
credit.
need a whiteboard or whatever, like
Ooh.
just like sit here and draw diagrams of crazy stuff.
Yeah. Oh, projector. Put it on the. Yeah, we could do that. I'm confused, but then again, that's nothing new. Oh, we were talking about weird and unusual news.
Weird and unusual news. We've got a lot of it.
Oh yeah. Did we want to start at the top and work our way down? Start in the middle and work our way out?
Well, here, how about we can? I was trying to get it, because we come in at like 5:59.
Right.
Just
Well,
about.
because we're busy preparing.
Well, with our sponsors.
Yeah. Yeah. They've got to, grease the wheel a little bit.
Well, plus, we're a little thirsty before the show. It's
Oh.
almost the end of the week.
Well, yeah.
Friday somewhere.
And it's been a week. It has been a week. It's amazing how many people are incompetent. And it's not, like you say, half the people are below average.
Right.
Half the people no, I can't say that. I work with people that may watch TV. Anyway,
Well, you didn't say any names.
I'm still down with the Buy Nothing Day.
Buy nothing.
I still think that's a great idea. Having a real Buy Nothing Day.
Well, and like even kind of going to Christmas, and it's just like everybody is so about the materialism and the consumerism and yada yada yada.
Right.
And, everybody's like, "What you gonna do for me? Me? Like, are you gonna come visit me? And like, let's get together and make a commitment. And
Right.
blah blah blah. And oh, you weren't thoughtful. And definitely. I think that's the good part of the season is like it causes people to be more thoughtful,
Right, and be together.
right, and be together. Which
Except when your racist Uncle Bob is there.
racist Uncle Bob.
Especially, he's had 3 or 4 very tall bourbon and cokes.
Well, everybody's got that racist Uncle Bob.
Yeah, well, no, that's like Thanksgiving. Okay, back to Christmas, right? I give my kids cash.
Right?
Love them all the same. I give them all the same amount, and they get to do with it what they want. I just PayPal it to them, and Merry Christmas. Buy something that you want and or need. Don't use it to pay bills.
Well, and I almost think that, because I hate to say that one of the most impersonal gifts you can give someone is a gift card.
Right.
Or even like, cash per se. Just because, sure, everybody could use cash, but, people can use cash for bad things, and you don't want to give a gift to somebody to use cash on bad things, right?
Okay, well,
It's just like the homeless person asking you for money that's going to use it on crack, right?
Okay, but this is my kids.
Well, your kids, right.
Right.
Let them, but what I'm getting at, too, is the point is that we've become, as a society, so separated and impersonable that you don't know what the ones you love the most that you actually buy gifts for actually want in their life, that you could maybe make some type of gesture to where, because I find that gesture gifts
Right.
always are even better than like, expensive, thoughtless gifts. Like, I'd almost rather like the handmade, crafted, artistic gift that is like, personable to you,
Right.
as opposed to that somebody put their thought and time and effort and love for you into.
Right.
Versus the $100 gift card to wherever, Best Buy.
Okay, see, I got the issue with gift cards.
Right.
Because what if I don't want to shop there? Then I got to go to one of those online card exchange bullshit
Well,
deals.
you at
and-
least got to know what kind of gift card they like.
Yeah, give them a Walmart gift card.
Everybody uses it,
Yeah.
or even like an Amazon or
Right. Well, see, that's why I just send it to them as PayPal, because they
Right.
can just stick it in their account and spend it. They can spend it online at eBay. They can spend it at Amazon.
stick it in their account.
Oh, talking about personalized gift, my girlfriend makes boxes. She used to work.
Free plug.
She used to make them for this high-end designer in New York, bracelet boxes and ring boxes and stuff like that. And on her Etsy store, she was selling stash boxes.
Stash boxes. Okay,
Right.
so you
So-
can stash your
Stuff.
jewelry. In
Right,
there.
and inside it had a separate compartment. You had a little ribbon loop. You lifted it up, and there's this another compartment underneath. And
what do you keep in there?
you know what I keep in there? I keep all my flash drives in there.
Flash on those.
I do. I've got flash drives in there.
Flash drives.
I got backups of important information. I've got.
I need to back up more stuff. I'm not good about that.
I've got OS images of all the different operating systems on my devices, and they're all in one box. And yes, it was theoretically designed for something else,
Right.
but I have purposed it in a way that makes my life better. And she made it with her own two hands. So I think that's just like a freaking awesome thing.
Well, yeah, and so I guess it is time. You don't want to be that guy.
That guy.
That is like the last, on Christmas Eve going to buy your gifts for everybody.
Buy dad a tie.
All right.
Some socks.
And none of the good ties are left.
Yeah. Get one of those little packets that has the shirt with the necktie already inside. They're pre-matched for you.
No doubt.
Yeah, I've gotten a few of those.
Oh, well, I mean,
And one year I got socks.
it's just like, hey,
Socks.
sorry. This is all I got.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? If I tell them you don't buy me anything. And
Yeah, it's
and-
like really, like I'd almost rather nothing than the socks.
no, because they've got their own lives and their own.
Well,
I don't want to
kids,
use
and they
the
don't
word
have their
struggles,
budgets.
but right,
Yeah.
they have their own demands on their funds.
Right, if anything, like draw me a pretty picture or write me a poem or something.
Sounds like you know my daughter Sid. She does that. She draws birthday cards that are very.
That's what I did for my parents oftentimes.
Yeah. Sid's birthday cards are the bomb.
Yeah, well, because they've got heart in them.
Right, but I mean the fact that she's a killer artist at the same time makes it even more.
One time, for my stepmom, I believe it was her birthday that I wrote her a poem. It was, and like she's like kind of like a clean freak to a certain degree, and so it was about like the laundry cycle and like the cycle of life, and like going through like turbulation and stuff, and coming out cleaner from it.
Right.
And and I mean it was a great poem, that had meaning like in the washing machine and in life. Which are, of course, double meanings always
Right.
are
Absolutely.
the best.
Everything
But,
is tied together.
I believe she ended up losing the poem, so like recreating it.
Right.
you know.
And of course.
And
she
she's
didn't-
not one to lose. She's organized, so.
No, my mom, thank God, she parceled all that crap out so that there's not much documentary evidence left.
But I mean, one of the bad things I guess about that is that there's an expectation, even so like sometimes it's like, hey, here's the gift card, or
Right.
like it's like, man, I haven't had the time or the inspiration to be able to sit there and write out a poem,
Right.
Or-
right.
or something thoughtful, like paint a picture.
In the 80s, I wrote more poetry. In the 90s, I wrote lyrics to
songs, right.
And then since then, since this last batch of kids,
It's a muscle, man. You got to use it.
I know,
and
but
use it or
since
lose
this
it.
last batch of kids, I shed all my hobbies, all of
The
my creative
Right.
avenues of expression, and my youngest graduates this year, and I'm making a change. So
Right. Bringing out
Maybe-
the
maybe-
paint brushes, bringing out the pens and notebooks and
Yeah.
all that stuff.
get my mandolin some new strings and
Find thyself.
yeah. Skeet, skeet, skeet.
All right. So, well, I guess you maybe find inspiration through other means sometimes. Which, speaking of which, the House has made marijuana almost legal.
Almost legal. They're trying to switch it to trying to remove marijuana from Schedule 1 status because they're starting to be able to scientifically demonstrate that marijuana helps PTSD patients and
Every
people-
patient's.
people with anxiety. And if you remove the Schedule 1 classification that says it has absolutely no medicinal value,
Classification, stigmatization.
right, well, same thing with heroin. What's left, you don't get the heroin, you get all these industrial processed variants of natural opium. And they can patent it and make money off of it as opposed to letting people have the direct natural product.
Which, speaking of opioids, just a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, prior to us invading Afghanistan in 2002,
Jesus God
Afghanistan only produced 7% of the world's opium. I'm not even 100% on that number. I know it was less than 10%.
Yeah.
But now it is more than 93% of the world's opium comes from the opium fields of Afghanistan that we control. 93%.
Last number I saw was 40-something%. My God, it's climbed
93%.
that much.
Yeah.
Well, those people need money. Not those people.
We
I don't
invaded
mean- I don't mean to make that sound negative, but people need money. And the farmers get pennies on the pound.
Well, I always
And-
said that George Bush was, or GW,
Right.
was big oil, and President Obama was big pharmaceuticals and big health industry,
Right,
and
health
insurance
industry,
industries,
right,
you
which
know?
is why we didn't get anything more.
Obamacare.
No,
right?
Obamacare was a start, but it was like so neutered at the beginning.
Well, sure. I mean, getting it through the House
and
and
he
the Senate.
wasn't. There were enough people
lot of
behind
concessions
it
were made.
that you could have pushed it further. I don't have a problem with private insurance, but
I do.
you have a problem with private insurance? Okay, let's say that there's a uniform basic insurance,
Just
right? But you're afraid that you might run into something that's going to cost you a buttload of money. Or that you want to be able to get the extra bells and whistles, the private room, whatever. You get private insurance to cover anything over and above what the basics cover. Is insurance a for-profit industry? Damn Skippy.
Well, and that's my big beef is that, like, man, I have to pay a ton of money for these insurance companies. However, they don't want to pay for anything,
Oh,
and they
yeah.
are shysters when
Oh
it
yeah,
comes
you
to...
gotta put out your individual $1,500 a year, your family $3,500
it's
a year,
theft.
plus your
It is
copay.
theft.
Yeah, and it costs like $300 a month, and it's just like, what the
It is
fudge?
theft. Man, one of the biggest industries in my opinion. But speaking of, marijuana going through the house,
Marijuana in the house.
Yep, in Washington, D.C. at the Capitol, they had a 51-foot inflatable joint.
Okay,
I'd like to see that one at the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, right?
yeah.
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 Like, whoa, and
Fill
then
it-
like
fill it
blowing
full of
out like
helium.
smoke, like to the...
Well,
I have Cypress Hill playing on the float.
As long as they can follow it with Baby Trump. I think that would be good.
Or Snoopy.
Or Snoopy, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
How about the USDA changed a work requirement in order to get food stamps, and nearly 700,000 people are going to lose their food stamps.
Jesus, God almighty. If people could work, most of them would work. But
Well, it's okay to, like, okay, well, hey, you're getting government assistance because, like, you're working a minimum wage job because, you know, it doesn't pay enough for you to make ends meet.
Right.
Okay, but, like, living off of a government check and voting in politicians that give you bigger rewards is very dangerous.
yeah,
And it's the end of democracy and capitalism, essentially.
bread and circuses.
Right.
Right.
Well, when you
Get your
realize
daily
you can
bread
vote
and now-
yourself gifts.
Oh, we got a live one. So hook 'em, reel 'em in.
Well, surely.
No, so go ahead and watch it.
Yellow!
Well, hello, gentlemen. How are you doing today?
Hi! Hi, how are you?
Hey, okay. I have a quick comment to add, and then I'll hang back up and listen. So my whole thing with the, universal pay or whatever it would be, where we don't pay an insurance company, we pay our taxes, and then if you want supplemental insurance to get your private room or whatever, then you would hire for those bells and whistles some insurance company to provide that. All the other industrialized countries figured this out decades ago. Like, why can't we figure it out? That's the question. What is stopping us? And the answer, I think, is just blatant corruption.
Excellent.
Blatant.
Excellent.
You've got it, caller.
Welcome to America, the corporatocracy of a society.
Which actually, it's just kind of ironic because I'm looking here at the caller ID and it says that you are white. Apparently, that's your last name, so.
Uh-huh. You sure that's not White House?
Well, it could be the White
could be
House.
the White House.
Is this one of Trump's aides? Because
Right. You
he
want-
might
you want
have
good free
STDs
advice?
from like picking people up from certain areas.
Oh, Jesus. God almighty, stop.
Oh, yeah, is that the new homeless?
Well, as long as I can get a shot and cure it, I'm good with that.
Yeah, exactly. Which, caller, do you realize that people are leaving, or people with college degrees are leaving Louisiana in droves?
Oh, yeah. Well, not just that, dude. I saw a news item the other day that that ICE has been setting up fake colleges and then capturing the students, like foreign students.
Oh,
I did
Jesus,
see that.
God
I saw
almighty,
that.
That's so fucked up.
Okay, so we have people that want to spend tens of thousands of dollars a year in our country, and we're going to put them in jail. Like, it's
No, that's bass backwards. That's totally wrong.
Well, I mean, like, I kind of do believe in citizenship, though.
You don't have to be a citizen to get an education. You just got to pay.
In America.
No. Oh, you're talking about?
No, you don't.
No,
You don't have
you get free public education if you're a minor child.
Well, right.
And colleges, you pay extra big money over and above the
Well,
insanely
surely.
high
And there's
prices.
a list to get in, and people are waiting on that list.
Okay, see, I don't know about the list. All I know about is the money. Look at that dog. Oh my
Sit
God,
down.
he brought his dog.
Ooshy boo boo, but getting back to people leaving Louisiana, I mean, like, there's not a lot of economic opportunity here.
Opportunities,
Our
exactly.
education system's, number 50.
Are we? I thought we were 49.
No, I think we've dropped to the
dropped to
bottom.
50. Okay. Well,
We vacillate.
if you listen to John Kennedy on when he's on TV, yeah, it's even though he's Oxford educated, he sounds like he's out from the piney woods and doesn't have but like a 5th grade education.
Well, it's quite true. And the places that they're going to, caller, would you like to take a guess of where?
Oh, wait, where are they going? You mean with John Kennedy and all them? Or
No,
Like, what
when
states
people
are they
that
moving
leave
to?
Louisiana,
Number
where
one.
do they go?
Oh, the number one state is Texas.
You are correct. And
And-
number 2.
Florida or no, Georgia.
Good guess, but I think we've got maybe a lot more green type people, and they're going to Colorado.
Oh, yeah, dude.
And then number 3, I believe, is California.
Wow, that's where I'm headed. I'm going out California way to get that good internet.
I can't see having to have 4 times the cost of living
I know, man. I can't afford this.
I mean, dude, when you got to make a minimum of $40 an
Well, they have
hour,
higher salaries,
I
but
know,
it's higher cost of living.
right?
Yeah.
Basically, you can't live in any of the major metropolitan areas unless you got a lot of money.
Right. You got to be out in BFE.
Pretty much. And
Yeah.
like drive an hour to San Diego or Los Angeles,
Wherever.
wherever it is you stay in Cali.
And
you know?
make your money and then drive back.
Even
out
like
to
in
BFE.
the vineyards, you know. I mean, that's expensive.
Look at that dog! Oh, such a cute little fuzzy dog.
I gotta,
Yeah. So fuzzy dogs, have fun.
Yeah,
We
sorry.
appreciate the call.
You don't get to see
Okay,
the
Tim.
dog, just us.
always, always enjoy the show. Talk to y'all later.
Thanks,
Yes,
man.
sir.
Take it back.
Yes. So
Should we have nationalized health care for our pets? Companion animals, service animals, those people that need that animal to keep them from losing their stuff.
I don't see why not. I mean,
Okay.
should it be mandatory? No.
No.
Just like I don't think human healthcare should be mandatory. Like, why should an 18-year-old have to have healthcare? Or why can't they be covered by their parents, kind of thing? You know?
Well, they can be covered by their parents.
Up to
right
25.
now. 20. Okay, I thought it was 23, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well,
Right.
I believe.
I
in
can't.
that.
Currently, I can cover my kids up to that age.
So-
when I make a change to my health care plan, which I'm fixing to do, it no longer applies.
So apparently, there's 11 nations in North America.
11?
There's 11 distinct, separated cultures.
Oh yeah.
So, it is divided by the left coast, which includes even Alaska, and it's kind of like northwestern, like Oregon, Washington, upstate California.
Right.
There's El Norte, which is
Okay.
kind of northern Mexico, basically, which of course you see all through Southern California, kind of
Right.
where the immigrants are,
Right.
even into Texas. Let's see, in the upper Midwest, you've got the far west, which is basically includes Anchorage and Fairbanks, Alaska, but that's like your Idaho and Montana and
Idaho.
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 Idaho, Idaho. Give me some potato.
Exactly.
Right.
Rub that russet.
The Midlands, which is kind of looks like it includes like St. Louis, maybe Chicago.
Right. Kansas City.
Let's see. Upper is Yankeedom, which is like that. Actually, probably I think has Chicago because that's like on the Great Lakes there. And
yeah.
like your
Oh yeah.
Minnesota.
Chicago's definitely in there.
You know, so that's like all your, original
Eastern
type
big
colonies.
city. Blah
Yeah,
blah
good
blah.
for them.
Yeah.
Greater Appalachia, which is kind of like goes all the way. It's basically the Appalachian Mountains.
Right, but it
Mountain people.
also includes parts of Oklahoma where you can
Well, it goes
see
to like Texas,
right.
Oklahoma,
But I
like
mean,
up
you
to
can
Kentucky.
see the migratory trends.
Yeah, exactly.
That group of people.
Well, it's like
move-
similar genes and families, probably.
Right.
you know.
Well, okay. My family, my dad's family was country, and you learn certain things and you cook certain way. I mean, it's a cultural kind of thing that even though, yeah, I'm mostly white bread, my cousins cook the same kind of foods. I mean, it's just
Right.
a thing. So no matter where you move, then your children learn to cook that way, and then their kids.
Well, and they have Tidewater, which looks like near.
Right, that's your North Carolina, Virginia,
Right, like your
Maryland.
Plymouth Rock.
Well, that and
And Washington,
slaves
D.C.
and plantation, blah blah.
Let's see, and then you got the Deep South,
Oh yeah.
which we are not a part of the Deep South.
Oh no, no.
You know, that's like your redneck.
Yeah, kind of like Florida man.
We are in Kunas land,
Right.
in New France.
Yes,
New Francais.
I believe that part 100%.
And of course, the rich people live up in the New Netherlands.
Okay, the New Netherlands. That must be in Canada.
No, that is like in Greenwich, pretty much. It looks kind of like Greenwich and maybe part of Massachusetts.
Oh, okay. That's like
Right near New York
old
City.
school, big money.
Old school, big money. Like that's
First
where
founding.
that's where the
blah,
royalty
blah.
lives.
Right. Wow, crazy.
Yeah. And Miami, of course, like South Miami kind of
Right.
has its own little
Definitely
thing too.
part of the Spanish experience.
So, to kind of, we can look at, see if they have anything. Yankeedom. They value education and members are comfortable with government regulation.
Yeah, sounds about right.
New Netherlands in New York area has a materialistic culture, obviously, because it's the super rich bankers.
Right.
Let's see. Profound tolerance for ethnic and religious diversity, unflinching commitment to freedom of inquiry and conscience. According to Woodward, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Encompasses New York City and northern New Jersey, settled by the Dutch.
Right. Makes perfect sense. Settled by the Dutch.
Okay, so Midlands. Let's see, located in Midwest, opposes government regulation. Tidewater started as a feudal society that embraced slavery. You mentioned that.
Right.
Okay, Greater Appalachia encompasses parts of Kentucky, Tennessee, West Virginia, Texas. Let's see, stereotyped as the land of hillbillies and rednecks. Intensely suspicious of lowland aristocrats and Yankee social engineers alike.
Right. Stay out my house, you carpetbagger.
You got it. Deep South adopts a rigid social structure in opposition to government regulation. They West Indies style slave society. Okay.
Damn Yankees.
El Norte has a dominant Hispanic culture.
No.
Let's see. The left coast, located in coastal California, is a lot like Yankeedom and Greater Appalachia.
Like Greater Appalachia.
Yankee
That's
utopianism and Appalachian self-expression and exploration.
cool.
Okay. Far west spans states in central U.S., including Montana, Wyoming, and Utah. Boring. New France inhabitants, are comfortable with government involvement in their economy. Great.
No, but
Is that all they have for us? A pocket of liberalism nestled in the deep south. Really? Its people are consensus-driven, tolerant, comfortable with government involvement in the economy. Well, I mean, the proof's in the pudding.
Right.
Woodward says New France is among the most liberal places in North America. I guess the proof is in the pudding as far as our politicians.
But if you look at our politicians, they're all of our representatives except for one
All of them
are
are
Republican.
garbage. They're all, I mean, like Republican and Democrats, they're all crooks. I mean, it's rare we get a good one. I don't remember the last good one.
But they're all Republicans right now, except for the governor, who's
Oh, as far as like representatives. I gotcha.
representatives. Our senators, both of them are Republican. Most of parishes have Republican parish leaders, government, yada, yada, yada. We are as conservative as it gets here in the South, at least this part of the South.
It's the truth. But, yeah, it just seems as though there is, and we've mentioned this as far as the education system, that it is institutionalized slavery.
Yes.
And it's the prison industrial complex. And everybody's in on it at every governmental structure, including the schools.
Yes.
And it is designed to dumb them down to make them conformists.
Yes.
That are socialists and essentially
Not socialists.
Well, I mean,
cogs in the machine.
cogs in the machine that are dependent upon the system.
Right.
That there is no independence whatsoever. They can't provide their own food for themselves or their own thought even.
Could you grow your own food for yourself?
Probably not.
Probably.
Because I wasn't taught in education system.
Okay. But
I mean, I know the gist of planting seeds and plowing and harvesting and blah 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 blah.
Right. Okay.
However, I am not the expert botanist.
no. You don't have to be an expert botanist to plant enough food to feed yourself.
Surely. So therefore, if there ever is a zombie apocalypse here, or somebody blow a EMP apocalypse,
The imp is gonna screw.
it's gonna come.
We're gonna be
And
so
the imp will totally
screwed.
screw us because we're dependent on the system, and
Yes.
things will not make it to the shelves if there's if there's an imp.
Just-in-time delivery system. We are soared.
And especially with 5G coming, the 5G
Oh,
apocalypse.
stop irradiating my body, please.
The 5G apocalypse, the weapon that is being infiltrated into our economy
Now, there is that one place in the nation
and on our people.
where there's no Wi-Fi, there's no cell phone service. It's like this blank zone. Because they're doing radio telescope things from the ground. And the place where the radio telescope is, the whole area around it, completely does not have any kind of Wi-Fi, any kind of cell phone. And if that's the only place in the country where it's not 5G, I guess I'm going to have to move there. I do not trust them. I do not believe them. I do not want my stuff charging in my pocket while I'm standing in a room.
Well, I mean, you remember the movie V for Vendetta.
Yes.
They talk about the inch
Right.
and never giving the inch, because before you know it, whenever you give an inch, you'll run out.
Right.
You'll eventually run out of inches that
Right.
you give your government or that you give the corporatocracy.
Right.
And so it's coming to a point where we're being pushed against the wall. And worldwide, there are revolutions going on and people revolting against the corporation, against the banking system, against the oil industry, against the war machine.
Right.
And ultimately, here in America, wow, we're dull to sleep, and we've got the fluoride brains.
Bread and circuses. Feed me and entertain me. Dancing with the Stars. How is that a deal? Keeping Up with the Kardashians. How is that a deal?
How is higher thought a deal?
No, they got to search us out. We're not
you
we're not
really
being
gotta search
slapped
us.
on CBS where you've got
And it's like easier probably to find, I don't know, like naughty porn, as far as like, I don't know, or it's easier to find pictures of Nixon hooking up with an alien, than it is to find our show. That's the first thing that came to my brain. I don't know.
but
Two
we're
combos.
we're more satisfying.
More satisfying. But, we've got this war on the people.
Yeah.
So, and it's coming through every way, and the cancers are up, the, ADHD is up, the autism's up, and a lot of people tie that to the vaccines and the food we eat. And how about the hair straightener?
Oh, Jesus, God Almighty. Hair dyes and hair straighteners have been linked to a higher cancer risk. Craziness. But when they talk about hair straighteners, they say that the risk is especially heightened for black women.
Which, what do you know? Another thing that is rigged against black people. And it is unjust, because, I hate to say it, that, system for the government that you work for
Right.
is largely black people. Which, I hate to say it, I prefer the term, I don't know what the proper political correct term is, but I prefer saying black people.
Okay.
Even though they're not black technically, they're brown, and, we're not white, we're kind of peach or whatever,
How about African American?
Oh, well, and I'm not a big fan of African American, too, because that limits them to Africa.
Right, that's true.
Because black people aren't simply just from one continent.
Oh.
They were from the entire region, like Asia and Europe and the Middle East. And so, I think that's kind of a whitewash right there, African American.
Whitewash.
Kind of like the Bible, almost, a big whitewash. Kind of like Hollywood. A big whitewash.
Jesus wasn't white.
Jesus was not white. And
Didn't have
honestly,
blonde hair or blue eyes.
if there was, like, God is energy, and it's like a consciousness that you reach in, like, within yourself, but ultimately, if God was personified,
Right.
which we can't even conceive God because we're not in that dimension,
No.
or at least the majority of people aren't.
Makes my head hurt just to think about it.
If you were to personify it, it would not be some old white dude, judgmental guy with a long beard sitting on a cloud.
No.
In my opinion, it would be a black woman. Because it's dark energy, it's dark matter, which of course has a negative connotation to it, but it's
I sort of
invisible.
more see
It's
a-
the Holy Ghost,
A
so to speak.
cloudy, glowy thing.
But it is like perceptive though, like and it molds based on what's in
Right.
front of it.
I-
And so, like,
Okay,
it's kind of
then-
like we were
then
talking about
perhaps-
with simulation theory and the photo light particles and the waves.
Right. That when you observe it, it changes.
When you
the-
observe the particle or the atom, then
It
it changes.
changes,
Yeah,
right.
because it becomes what your thoughts are.
It's not a particle, it's a wave. It's not a wave, it's a particle. It's when you measure it, you alter its reality.
So essentially, our thoughts control the environment around us. It's manifestation. So if anything, like
Yeah.
to be thankful and to know that you are blessed, to count, and to be appreciative of the blessings in your life. Completely can change everything. To work hard toward a goal in a positive frame of mind, to be forgiving and go with the flow. And that is just all part of the waves and the energy of the universe.
Yeah.
However, you do have to have that energetic shield as well from all the negative BS that is out there.
Well, I've been working hard at being a better person, being kinder, being more considerate, extending benefit of the doubt to
Surely.
people.
Well, because we're all
And-
victims
Right, but
of this society.
at some point when someone
There's accountability.
when someone constantly comes to you and it's like you need to figure this out on your own.
Right.
I can only show up so many times to fix your problem.
There's no doubt. Well, and I mean, like, if someone doesn't want to help themselves, because believe me, there are people out there with the bad energy. And, I mean, like,
So they want to suck somebody else in and let
they're
their-
energy vampires.
let them expend their energy,
Right. And it's because their vibration is so dull
right?
that they depend, like, they're absorbent. They are consumers of energy, and needless to say, while other people exert energy and they give off a light that people, it's like it's that invisible energy. It's the matrix. It's ones and zeros, right?
Right.
Which
Some people definitely vibrate at a higher level.
are at a higher thought.
I've known it's just not going to clear up.
Maybe that.
Maybe so.
Let's see. We're about 13 minutes. You got an article up?
I've got.
Oh yeah, the cross country thing.
Oh man, Cannonball Run. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the Cannonball Run.
I thought it was just a movie.
Exactly. It was a real car race. The movie back in the 70s with Burt Reynolds and Dom DeLuise and all those people. They were portraying and exaggerating certain true life events. Now, from multiple Cannonball Runs, races from New York to California, you start at this specific spot and you end up at that specific spot. Finally, the fastest
The fastest time ever.
2,826 miles was done in 27 hours and 25 minutes. So that's an average of 103 miles an hour. Now remember, they've got the trunk full of gas tank. They have to stop. I mean, yeah, it's not all that often, but they have to spend all that time pumping gas into that ginormous gas tank. And they still averaged 103 miles an hour.
Man, and making it across the country in one day. I'm wondering how many people got tickets.
They have people who volunteer to run parts of the interstate in advance of their approach.
And like go past the speed limit.
Right.
Just
so
to
that
get pulled
if
over just in
there's
case.
if there's a cop,
They'll let them
they
know so
get
they can
pulled,
slow
or
down.
they get pulled over.
To where like there's
The other
no
car
other cops.
just keeps hauling ass on its way through.
Right. Unless the cop sees them like, oh, this is a bigger bust.
But they took this AMG Mercedes, put twin turbos on it, cranked it up to 700 horsepower, ginormous intercooler on it, and whipped it out in front of God and everybody.
Ooh, you whipped it out.
I'm a car geek. I'll have to admit that part. I mean, just the engineering alone.
Well, I guess that's what the people that are leaving Louisiana are doing. Just like, let me get my car going, like, vroom, which is what you're doing next year, right? But hey, it's not all bad in Louisiana because, hey, we got the LSU Tigers doing really well. They're undefeated, even though they're number 2.
LSU?
Number 2, LSU.
Okay, and who's number 1?
Ohio State. Even though
Really?
LSU has beaten 4 top 10 teams.
It's not Auburn?
No, Auburn beat Alabama this past week, but LSU also beat Alabama, and Auburn lost to LSU too.
Oh, right, Bama, Roll Tide.
So, and Bama's lost twice, so they're out of
Right.
the playoff, and it's
Really?
a lot of people are saying that it
Bama's
is just
out
kind
of the
of
playoffs.
it's biased, and it's like it's a conspiracy kind of thing as far
come
as
on. The SEC
LSU
has the teams
is
they
the
have.
obvious number 1.
Right.
Ohio State has been blowing a lot of crappy teams out.
Well, from what I remember hearing from a friend, that they just
They're really good.
they spanked UK like it was.
But who the hell is UK? Like LSU's beat 4 like top 10 teams. Like we've beat like the top 5 teams like 2 or 3 times already. So needless to say, LSU has a much better record this season. Which, speaking of which, Clemson is number 3, which they are the undefeated national champions who didn't lose last year,
And they're number 3?
and they're number 3.
How does that work?
Because their strength of schedule. They haven't played in they don't play anybody good in their conference.
Okay. Well,
Which is their detriment.
Who's good in their conference?
Nobody.
Okay.
Like we've got like Auburn, Georgia,
Right.
Florida,
'Cause Georgia don't play
Alabama,
around. Right.
Texas A&M. There's a lot of good teams in the SEC that we have to beat.
Right.
But they played nobody. So, I mean, LSU is doing well. They play in the SEC championship against Georgia.
Oh, that'll be a
And-
mess.
Well, apparently, I just don't think, in my football opinion, that Georgia has the firepower to be able to keep up with LSU because LSU's got in my opinion, the top quarterback in the NFL draft. He's probably going to win the Heisman Trophy.
You think?
Yeah, I really do.
You think he's going to win the Heisman Trophy?
I honestly do.
Wow.
And he's like a front
what
runner.
makes him that much more special? That makes him rise to the top?
Well, he's set SEC records for passing yardage and passing touchdowns.
Right.
And accuracy. Like
Okay.
he's almost like 80%, dude.
Okay, now that's you mentioned SEC. How does that figure across the national average? Because that's where your Heisman Trophy is going to be coming from.
Well, usually it's a
Looking-
quarterback or a running back that's
running
really
back,
good,
right.
But Joe Burrow has just about been perfect this year. He's been
Okay.
by far like the best quarterback, like perfect precision, great leader, and we're undefeated.
Okay, so
And a lot of big wins, heroic moments.
right. So once he leaves, then LSU goes into a rebuilding season.
There is no rebuilding season. There's always somebody next in line at LSU.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, we've
So-
got somebody from our little system going to LSU that might be on the field next year.
As a running back, right?
Receiver.
Receiver. Okay.
At a receiver.
Yeah.
Have you heard of this chameleon theory?
Which one?
Apparently,
We're talking about human adaptability and trying to blend into societies.
so
or-
a quick little chameleon theory run up. So come on, arrow. Well, sometimes the arrow doesn't. Okay, so Einstein's gravity explaining theory of general relativity may not tell the complete story of how galaxies and black holes form throughout the universe. New supercomputer simulations implementing something called chameleon theory provided an alternative explanation for how galaxies form. So it's a new theory of gravity in which the effects of gravity can fluctuate and change based on the environment. So it's like exactly what we were talking about
like
with the
whether
atoms.
we're observing it or not.
It's like
We
the cycle,
right?
It's
We
the
change it.
interchangeable. It's the magnet,
Right.
You know, with the positive and the negative. So let's see. And that's stark contrast from the general relativity. Gravitational force is treated as a constant. General relativity has been experimentally validated, but the models show that chameleon theory can't be ruled out as an alternative, as the universe, acting according to the new theory, still form the same kind of galaxies and black holes, kind of similar to what we were talking about with the atom, things they're doing in physics.
Right.
And basically it is based on what the observer thinks and what they want it to do.
That's kind of like the black hole that they've observed at the center of our Milky Way that should not exist according to physics, which means now they have to reevaluate their explanations of how things are.
Well, no doubt. And
That's a great thing about science is when you find something that doesn't match your expectations, then you stop and you're forced to redo the calculations to include this new thing.
well, and of course, physical evidence is important for humans.
Well,
Even though sometimes, like, things is like, like God, for instance, like, that's hard to find evidence.
Right. Right.
Even though, like,
Do
a
we
lot of
believe
this,
that-
like, simulation and, like, the matter and, all of the universe forming and the physics stuff and the multiverse and
Right.
a lot of that, like, alludes to, like, godlike abilities and an intelligent design. Like, we're a program.
I'm still not buying.
But since we're getting in our last 5 minutes, we can kind of get a little crazy with it.
Crazy!
How about the origin of the swastika? Know where that comes from?
I thought it was India.
Well, apparently, like, the reason why it is basically the North Star with the Big Dipper going, like, around it in different cycles.
Crazy.
So it's like, it makes like a swastika. Like whenever you look in like, in different seasons.
Right.
It like the 4 seasons are like what the Big Dipper's
The
doing on the
4
North Star
points,
in the swastika.
Right. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. So I mean a lot of these
These older civilizations, they had the stars because what else do you do
Esoteric
at
meaning,
night?
man.
You've got no light. You can't read a book. You can't watch TV. You sit outside and you watch the stars.
which get this, the old esoteric symbol for music is almost identical to the symbol for medicine.
Really?
One and the same.
Okay. The symbol for medicine is the caduceus.
It was just kind of like some dots connected, and I mean, I don't know
I'm
what.
thinking the caduceus. That's the staff with the snake that wraps around it and the wings.
Well, right, I know what you mean, but it was, let's see, where did I,
Are we talking about
esoteric.
stars still?
Yeah,
okay.
but it was like some dots connected together kind of thing.
Okay.
So it was like some old, like, ancient symbol, even going beyond.
Oh.
So
right.
the Enoch calendar, going back to that was 364 days in their year. And technically, like almost like a day is like eliminated from the year.
Right. And they were doing the best they could with what they had.
Right.
And every so often they would adjust
It's
the
an
calendar.
approximation.
Right. Now
Because
we
the
know that,
the actual days are like 23 hours and 56 minutes or something like that.
and we know that a real year is 365.24, so we had a leap year. Why not just go to 28-day months? We'd have 13 months in the calendar. You got the one odd day. Every 4 years, you get 2 odd days, and that's when you just blow it out. I mean, you just get.
Why not?
I mean, you get tore up from the floor up and wild in the streets.
Well, speaking of wild in the streets, let's go some conspiracy theories. Crazy ones.
Do we have any reptilians?
Oh, there's reptilians everywhere in disguise as
Hallelujah.
humans. There's no moon. It's an alien observatory created to keep an eye on us. It's like a big reality show for them, I guess, right?
Right.
Let's see.
Oh,
Contactee claims the moon is artificial and was brought here from another galaxy. Another article. That's 2 different ones. 9 ways to awaken the divine masculine within you. I got the 20 brutal truths. I'm gonna do some 20
Yeah,
brutal truths.
let's be brutal. Let's finish this.
Finish
hardcore.
strong. Okay, no, not that one. Let's see. Scrolling to that article. 20 brutal truths about life no one wants to admit.
Yeah.
Finish strong.
Yeah, you pee in the shower. Is that a brutal truth?
Let's see. You are going to die and you have no idea when.
Well, duh.
Everyone you love is going to die and you don't know when.
Okay, again, duh.
Your material wealth won't make you your material wealth won't make you a better person or happier.
Yes.
Your obsession with finding happiness is what prevents its attainment.
Ooh, I've heard that. I've got Buddhist friends that.
Well, just go with the flow, ride the wave, man.
right.
You know, because life is gonna give you what it wants to give
Right.
you.
Well, that's like my girlfriend.
You just gotta ride
She
the
and I,
wave.
We see each other when we see each other. We do the best we can when we can.
Exactly. Your time is gonna come. Your obsession with finding happiness is. Oh wait, we got that one. Donating money does less than donating time.
That makes sense.
You can make everyone happy, and if you try, you'll lose yourself. That's important.
Yeah.
That's important.
You can't please everyone, but you got to please yourself.
You can't be perfect, and holding yourself to unrealistic standards creates suffering.
Right.
Hey, teachers.
Right, because it's all right now.
Your thoughts are less important than your feelings, and your feelings need acknowledgement.
Wait, my thoughts are.
I don't care about your feelings, which I think we're off the air, but we're still streaming, possibly.
Right. Okay. No, I've still got 4 minutes of on-air time.
No, we go till 6:56.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, we're done.
Yeah. Well,
Anyway, go ahead with
we
your
can
point.
finish the list for our streamers.
Right.
Let's see. So your achievements and success won't matter on your deathbed.
Yeah.
And kind of a philosophy I've learned recently that I think is pretty, good, is that you should not kill yourself for a job that can replace you within a week.
Right.
Like the only job that you should be working that hard for is the one that you love so much and that you're irreplaceable because you're the best.
Right. Okay. Let me interject what is perhaps a counterpoint.
Surely. That's what this show is about.
People that I work with, the clients that I work with, I have the opportunity to impact their lives
Surely. In a good way.
in a good way, hopefully.
And negative as well.
Right, it's possible, but I try not to be a dick. So
Well, I mean
I
even
follow
like as
weaknesses.
far as like getting rid of them
yeah.
and to the bad place.
Yeah. Well,
You've been bad.
you have been bad. You got to go away.
Right.
And you can't come back.
Until,
No, you can't.
They say
come-
you can.
No, you can't come back.
well, you get to say
I get to say that.
no soup for you.
No, absolutely not. No soup for me, or for them. Anyway, there are those individuals that I can develop a positive rapport with that their regular people can't, because they're seen as authority figures, and I'm seen as something other than an authority figure.
Right. Yeah, we're
Yeah.
still streaming.
No,
we're going to finish the list real quick.
We're just going through this list.
And which we're halfway done, so we should be done by 7.
Okay, awesome.
All right. So number 11 here.
Yeah.
So halfway through the list.
Moving on up.
Your talent means nothing without consistent effort and practice. So the muse will come to you,
Right.
but you have to be consistent in your attempt to be inspired.
Right.
by the muse.
You've got to put in the hours.
You've got to put in the creative effort.
Right.
You know, like you can't spend your time Netflixing and chilling and sleeping and, you know, doing nonsensical technological things.
I've got a friend. His name's Ian Christie. He's moved to Canada the last few years ago. And he's an artist, and he works for this company, video games and all kinds of shit. Anyway, every day on his commute to work, he rides public transit. And every day he does a sketch while he's on public transit.
It's important for the brain.
And sometimes those sketches are just like something that grabs him, and they become the framework for this amazing piece of artwork.
Right. Isn't that right brain?
He's got a lot of brains.
I think,
He's also got those
no,
pork
right
chop
brain's logical. I
sideburns that
think
just-
left brain is artistic.
Artistic,
I get
whatever.
them mixed up. So, yeah, I don't know. I'll look it up later. Number 12. Now is the only time that matters. So stop wasting it by ruminating on the past and planning the future.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
Because ruminating on the past is depression.
Yeah, yeah.
Planning in the future is anxiety.
Oh. Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
You know, I mean, that's how you, like, get that
No,
duality.
dude, that's awesome because, once again, personal thing, right? Talking
Sure.
with my girlfriend, we don't care about down the road.
Well, yeah, it's moment.
And
moment.
what happened in the past is the past. We
Yeah,
have-
you've slept with over 100 people. Well, yeah, because you're that age.
Right.
And, you know, like,
Right.
if you average a couple a year, then, like, hey, you know, it adds up.
Right, but when we're together, we're together.
Together. Right. You're living in that moment.
In that moment. That's
which is
awesome.
the most important moment.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
No, I
This
think
is a good list.
Right. I think that should be higher up the list, me. But
Well, you are in control of the past and can't predict the future, so, and trying to do so removes you from the one thing that you control, the present. Number 13, nobody cares how difficult your life is, and you are the author of your life story.
yeah. Yeah.
Number 14, your words are more important than your thoughts, so start inspiring people. You know, quit just like observing, do something about it.
Follow Wheaton's
And that's
law.
what we are lacking because of this politically correct society in our country, is that everybody's afraid to hurt somebody's feelings, and so we let injustices happen.
Is that political correctness, or is that just being afraid to engage?
That as well.
Okay.
You know,
Right, because you don't
I
want to be
guess,
accused of being
an
whatever.
aggressionist, I guess, you know. Let's see. Investing in yourself isn't selfish. It's the most worldwide thing you can do. Number 16, it's not what happens. It's how you react that matters.
Yes. Yes.
You know, because you cannot control the situation. You have to ride that wave.
Right.
You know. Number 17, you need to improve your relationships to have lasting happiness. You know, so it's not about like you chilling by yourself or getting the self time. Like you need to have some people that want to go to your funeral because they loved
Right.
you and they had a connection with you as a human.
Right. That
You know?
makes sense.
Which, I mean, of course, them going to your funeral is neither here nor there, but like, it's just, you know, like it's the human connections rather than within ourselves and like, you know, being so self-centered and technology-centered. Number 19, number 18, pleasure is temporary and fleeting. So stop chasing fireworks and start building a constellation.
Ooh.
So you got to
damn.
work to that happiness. It's a build-up.
Yep.
You know, and everything can happen all the time, you know, so you have to kind of ride that wave and kind of go through the lows and the highs of the mountain.
I'm
let's
totally
see.
good with that one.
Your ambition means nothing without execution. It's time to put it into work.
Right. Stop talking about it and do it.
And finally, number 20, time is your most valuable asset. You need to prioritize how you spend it. And I'm glad you spend it with us, Acadian and world, whoever's
and the
watching.
world, we love you.
Mo,
Nayday.
Higher Thought. Check us out sometime soon.
Deuces.
Yeah, good show.
Good one. Good one.